Now, I know I always talk about the weather being super beautiful and sunny here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but in today's video, guys, I'm here to give you the real truth behind the weather here in Albuquerque. And as you can see, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's raining, and today's gonna get interesting. So grab your pen and your pad and let's get into today's video. Now, in previous videos, I told you guys that the climate here in Albuquerque, New Mexico is pretty nice, 300 plus days out of the year. Now today, yes, it is a little bit rainy, a little bit gloomy, but in all consideration, guys, this is actually pretty nice weather and a lot of us actually enjoy this. Yeah, the sun may not be completely out, but you're still gonna be able to get outside and enjoy the day. Shoot, I enjoy walks in this type of weather just because it's nice and refreshing, or just sitting outside with the garage open or out in our patio to really soak it all in, because weather like this doesn't come by a whole lot. It's the first week of June. We're heading into the summer months to where a little bit of a cool down from the previous weeks of almost feeling those 90s, 80s, really gives us a break from that hot temperature. So if this weather isn't gonna bother you and you're okay with dealing with some of this from time to time, I gotta remind you guys that if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. My name is Eli, and if this is your first time tuning in, hit that subscribe notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys never miss out on any videos that I'm dropping, because I'm dropping videos every week talking about the weather here in Albuquerque, what it's like living here, and some other areas here in New Mexico that we talk about that people are moving to. And aside from doing these videos, guys, I am a licensed broker here in the state of New Mexico. As much as I love doing this, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. So that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. If you are planning on moving down here from the next 30, 60, or 90 days, I'd love for you to reach out. That way we can hop on a quick Zoom call and get into all the details and talk about the climate a little bit more when it comes to moving down here in Albuquerque. The weather definitely has an impact on your mood. And when we're talking about moving here and dealing with the climate, we let people know that we experience all 4 seasons here, and really depending on what side of town you're living on, you're really gonna have to deal with a little bit more polarizing than the others. So when I bring that topic up, I let people know that closer to the mountains, the more rain and more snow you're gonna have to deal with. Closer to the west side, you are gonna get some days of rain and snow, but it's not gonna be just as much as living near the mountains. Now, that can deal with your mood, right? When you're going outside and you see a cloudy day like this, you're maybe one of those types of people that's like, man, I just don't want to do anything. I want to hang out inside. I don't even want to go outside. And when you see the sun, it does the opposite effect, right? You get energized, you get ready to go, get your day started and all this stuff. So you're going to get to experience all of that, and more so on the sunny side of being energetic and getting out and doing all these different types of things, especially if you are living in the city. Now, if you are living in the East Mountains, you're living closer to like Rio Rancho and stuff like that, you're going to experience some more of these rainy days, just because for whatever reason, they tend to get a lot more inclement weather like this. But with all fairness, they need it just because they're not super close to any water sources. So, for the plants and all the trees that they have up there and out there, Rio Rancho, it's good. With dealing in the spring and fall, springtime, it starts to get kind of this gray area of where in the mornings it's kind of cool, in the afternoons it gets hot. So you are going to be wearing multiple layers throughout the day just to, adjust for that type of weather. Now in the fall time, it's kind of the same. Really, it's weird that the weather is kind of perfect in the spring and the fall. Summertime, it gets a little bit hot. There's days like this that we deal with a break. I think it's going to be raining for the next 2 days. So it's pretty nice to get this in between the 90-degree weathers. Like today, it's cold enough for me to wear a long sleeve and shorts and be comfortable. If I wanted to wear a hoodie, I could, and just sit outside and enjoy all of this beauty, right? The birds are still chirping. The rain falling down from the trees and just the roofs of the houses is so peaceful. I wish I could go back to bed, but I gotta do this for you guys, right? So my mood right now is a little bit elevated just because I enjoy this type of weather. And when the sun's out, believe it or not, I'm a little bit the opposite. I turn into a hermit crab and I just don't wanna go outside because I hate dealing with the heat, especially if I'm trying to get stuff done. And maybe it's just because like my wife says, I'm always running this high temp, and it's maybe because I work out a lot. I don't know, maybe you guys can help and explain that for me, but really when this type of weather comes around, I feel it as sort of a mental break, kind of a slow down, get to enjoy the outside because there's not a lot of people outside, really. Like I haven't seen a soul out here this morning, and it's really enjoyable just to sit back, listen to some peaceful jazz music, work out, and kind of get my day going. all the precipitation, snow and all that stuff, I didn't let you guys know that the winters here are actually pretty manageable. It does get cold, but we only get snow maybe about like once or twice, to where you're gonna have a snow day from work or get to stay home, or you're gonna have to be cautious on your way to work. And one big thing that I tell people that we do get here is a ton of black ice. So if you do travel in the mornings, you're gonna wanna take your time, don't wanna speed, and be cautious about your travel through those winter times. But during this time here, the monsoon seasons that we get during the summertime, it actually brings a lot of the stuff back to life. So a lot of the desert life that we have here, you start seeing it come back to life after days like this, which makes it so much beautiful to be able to experience a day where it's kind of like slowed down, kind of dreary, gloomy and stuff like that. And then once the sun comes back around, brings everything back to life, you see everything well nourished, well watered, and it almost feels like you're connected with the earth in a hippie kind of sense too, where it's like, ah, man, this is so refreshing. You know, I got to get some downtime, and now that I'm seeing everything come back to life, from the desert cactuses to pines to the evergreens, feels so good. And I mean, the aroma that my pine tree just leaves out early in the mornings after a day like this, it makes me feel like I'm up in the mountains again. And I'm such an outdoors guy. You guys know, if you guys have been watching the videos, that I just love to be outside. A majority of the videos that I do are outside. Sometimes you can tell that I'm inside is because it's hot. And I don't want to be outside doing these videos when it's hot, because I get all hot and sticky and sweaty, and it just, blah, right? But really, guys, storms like this are pretty refreshing. I wish it was like loud thunder and lightning outside, because that would make it so much peaceful. I'm a weirdo like that, and maybe there's a few of you guys out there that can relate to this topic. But when it's storming and thunder and the rain is coming down and you're just outside enjoying this nice little breeze coming through, you feel so refreshed afterwards. Like, oh my God, like all your worries of the world just kind of just dissipated and are no longer existent, even though that they are. But for those few minutes or for that hour or two that you get to spend outside to enjoy this type of weather, it really brings you back down to earth and allows you to reset. And there's a ton of moments like that here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, believe it or not. All right, now, when we are talking about temperatures, we are gonna be talking about how it fluctuates throughout the day. Now, I brought this up a little bit earlier on how you're gonna wanna wear layers here, and you might own a little bit more clothes than you anticipated, because in the spring and the fall, the weather's pretty much the same, to be honest with you guys, and it gets cold in the mornings, hot in the afternoons, and then cold again. Now, it can vary by zip codes too, and that's a running joke here, that the weather is so bipolar sometimes that you may be in 87120 and 87105 the next, and you know, the weather is totally different. So really being prepared with all the different layers is gonna come in handy. Like I tell you guys, the shorts and the hoodie, or the long sleeve and the hoodie, kind of like that beach boy kind of vibe, it works here. So if you are coming from California or New York and you got this beach boy vibe, your style of clothes is gonna fit very well here, because the fluctuating temperatures is gonna make you wanna take these layers on and off. And just being comfortable throughout the day, right? Making sure that you're not too hot or too cold is also gonna make it make sense. Now, the comfortable living that people have here because of the weather, I mean, is stupid. Just because your day can really be dictated by the type of weather that we have outside. It allows for that. The land of Manana is very real. Some call it procrastination, but down here it's our way of living, and we see no problem with it. So I got a bunch of stuff to do today, but you know, given on the weather, my wife and the kids might just see that it's raining and might want to stay at home. All depending on whether or not we go outside. It's really going to be up to us, and you're going to see that when you move down here, that hey man, some things just move a little bit slower than I'm used to. Especially if you're moving from a bigger city, you're going to want to take this into account, because you're going to have to adjust your lifestyle. And for a lot of people, that's what you guys are looking for. And again, I got to remind you, if that's what you're looking for, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. And I love to help you go into great detail about this, right? Your lifestyle, the type of living, what sides of town are going to be perfect for you guys. I mean, some person commented like a whole story and biography on one of my comments that I just had to have them reach out. We were able to help them out in finding, you know, that place for them. It just took a little bit of, you know, going into detail in our Zoom conversation, which allows for that, because I'll be the one on the other end just helping you navigate exactly what you're looking for, especially if you're moving down here to Albuquerque. So this one's a super fun one, and I don't know if it's climate related, but I thought it was super cool that when I was looking at climate stuff and putting all this information together, that having clear skies at night, especially for people who are into like astronomy, is a actual reason for people to move down here. So the clear skies that we experience throughout the night, especially out here closer to the west side or closer to the east side, kind of away from the lights, and some of these areas actually don't allow any street lights or any house lights, maybe a little house light here and there just so you can, get to your house late at night. But for the majority, some of these neighborhoods are not gonna have a ton of street lights, which you would think, right, being a bigger city, we'd have all that. But again, we love the nature, we love Mother Earth, that even being able to look up at the sky and see the stars, see the Milky Way, Big Dipper and Little Dipper means a ton to us, because not a lot of cities get the opportunity to do so, just because they have so much lights, they're very well lit, and the smog and all that stuff, that when you do look up in the sky here, even during the day, you will be able to see the moon. It's actually pretty cool. My kids tripped out that they were able to see the moon during the day. They were like, oh my God, that's crazy. And even during at night when we sit outside, we turn off all the lights and we're able to look outside and just enjoy the stars, which is super cool. If you're into space, into stars and all that stuff, living in New Mexico and Albuquerque is really gonna satisfy that craving for, the unknown. You might see a UFO or two, I don't know. People say that they see them all the time. I'm not gonna say that I have or say that I haven't, but hey, there's a possibility. The last thing up on our list here that I want to talk about that a lot of people get reference to is the overall health and well-being of people actually increases down here, and it may be due to our climate and our weather. Now, our climate is low humidity, it's a little dry, you do get the sun, and you do get all 4 seasons. And according to human nature, when you move with the seasons, you get outside and enjoy some sun, and you don't have all this humidity to where you can get outside and enjoy the weather. Your life is just gonna be that more abundant, a lot more healthier, and this is all science, so you guys can go and look all this stuff up. It's not just me kind of, regurgitating or blurting out stuff. This is real science. Now, I'm not gonna reference any kind of articles or anything like that. You guys can go ahead and do that stuff, but a ton of people have let me know that their doctors have recommended for them to move to a climate like this, just because the climate is super easily to manage. You're not gonna have polarizing of one or the other. And if you do get a few days to where you don't have to go outside, kind of restores your mental health and slow down. That's needed, right? Especially if you live a busy life like I do. So the weather here and other weathers that I've been able to live in, Albuquerque's the best because we don't get, tons of feet of snow. We don't get a ton of rain. It's not super humid to where I don't even want to go outside and enjoy the outdoors or go on a bike ride with my kids or go on a run or have a workout outside. Majority of the time I want to be outside, getting some fresh air, getting some vitamin D, and living a healthy lifestyle. Is that all just because of the weather and climate? No, of course not, but it helps. So if you're looking for a better way of living, you want a healthier lifestyle, you just kind of want to change everything as far as your identity is from the big city living or whatever type of living that you're experiencing now that you're not happy with, so you might want to give Albuquerque a shot, or some other neighboring city around us, just because with all the benefits that you're gonna get with just living here as far as like health and well-being. And of course, always consult with your doctors before moving down here. Don't just take my word for it. It might help. And some people just need that. A little bit of help just to get over that hump, just to see a different side of themselves, to be able to be better for themselves, the people around them, kids, their wives, grandparents, parents, whoever. And shoot, if you do move down here, I'd love to get a workout in with you. I'd love to go on a hike with you. Whatever it is that you're wanting to go out and do in the outdoors or just live a better lifestyle, I'd love to help with that too. But in today's video, guys, we talked about how the weather is pretty good here. despite getting, rainstorms that come through in the summertime and just cool things down and just allow for the break from the hot temps, or, the manageable weathers that we get on either side of town, this seems appealing to you guys. That number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and I'd love to go into great detail with this for you guys. That way you guys know exactly what you're getting into when you're moving to the central part of New Mexico. And again, guys, the videos popping up here is another great tool and another great resource. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down at the bottom. I'm gonna go enjoy this weather just because it's too beautiful not to. I'll catch you guys on Friday. You guys have a great week. Peace.